Hi, this is Mrs. Rodriguez, your pre-algebra teacher, and this video is about lesson 8-3, and it's called Representing Linear Functions. Okay, so I'll go over some of the material and go over a few examples. Okay, so let me share my presentation with you. Okay, so lesson 8-3, Representing Linear Functions. Okay, so first thing you need to know is how to solve linear equations. So an equation such as y equals 60x is called a linear equation. A linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line, okay? So once it's graphed, the line can look different. It could be going up from left to right. It can be going down from left to right. It could be a horizontal line, and it could be a vertical line as well. All of these graphs would be considered linear functions or linear equations, okay? So a linear equation is also a function because each member of the domain, where that's the x value, is paired with exactly one member of the range, which is the y value. So the solution of an equation with two variables consists of two numbers, one for each variable, that make the equation true. So in other words, you need an x value and a y value, and that would be your solution to an equation, okay? And one way to find solutions is to make a table, okay? So here it says find four solutions of each equation, write the solutions as ordered pairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a table of these values, okay? So just a table. So we're going to plug in values for x, and we're going to see what we get for y when we plug it into the equation, 3x minus 1, okay? So the values you should be choosing for x are the following: -1, 0, 1, and 2. This will kind of give you a general idea of what the graph is going to look like, okay? So if it asks you to find four solutions, you're using -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so we're going to plug in y equals this 3x, but instead of x, we put in the value for x, which here is -1 minus 1, okay? So 3 times -1, that's -3 minus 1, okay? You add the opposite. -3 plus -1 is -4. So it says here, write the solutions as ordered pairs. So when x is -1, y is -4, okay? So go on to the next one. Now we're going to plug in x for 0. So 3 times x, well, we're putting 0 for x minus 1. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is -1. So when x is 0, y is -1, okay? Now we're going to plug in 1 for x. So 3 times 1 minus 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, minus 1 equals 2. So when x is +1, y is +2. And then finally, our fourth value is going to be 2. So I plug in 2 for x, minus 1. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 is equal to 5. So when x is 2, y is equal to 5. Okay? All right. And we'll do one more like this. So this one, we have our table. We put our x values. Remember, we're using -1, 0, 1, and 2 for x. And then this time, y is going to be -2x plus 5. Okay, so I have -2 times x, which is -1, plus 5. So now I've got -2 times -1. Negative times negative is positive, so that's 2. And I still have to add 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. So when I write my answers as ordered pairs, when x is -1, y is +7. Here I've got -2 times 0. I'm using 0 for x. Well, anything times 0 is just 0, and then I still have to add 5. So when x is 0, y is positive 5. Now I'm going to put 1 in for x, and -2 times positive 1 is going to be -2. Remember, negative times positive is negative, plus 5. -2 plus 5, my signs are different. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 5 has a larger absolute value, so it's positive 3. So when x is 1, y is positive 3. Okay? And then I'm going to plug in 2 for x, and -2 times positive 2 is going to be -4. Negative times positive is negative. I still need to add 5. My signs are different. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1, and 5 has a larger absolute value, so it's going to be positive 1. So when x is 2, y is positive 1. Okay? So these are your final answers. Okay? All right. Next thing you need to know how to do is graph a linear equation. Okay, so the x-coordinate of the point at which the graph crosses the x-axis is the x-intercept, and the y-coordinate of the point at which the graph crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. So looking at this graph, we can see here it crosses the x-axis at +2, and here it crosses the y-axis at +3. Okay, since 2 points determine a straight line, a simple method of graphing a linear equation is to find the points where the graph crosses the x and the y-axis and then connect them. Okay, all right, so here it says to graph each equation. Okay, so we want to find the x and the y-intercept because those would be our 2 points. So to find the x-intercept, you're going to let y equal 0. Okay, so I'm going to plug in for y. I'm going to plug in 0, and then I'm going to solve for x. Okay, so I add 4 to both sides, just like a regular equation. 0 plus 4 is 4, so x is equal to 4. So for this graph, I know it's going to cross the x-axis at +4. Okay, then I need to find the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, I'm going to let x equal 0. So I have this equation, y equals x minus 4. So now I'm looking for the y-intercept, so I'm plugging in 0 for x. Okay, I would solve this just like a regular equation. I have 0 minus 4. Well, 0 minus 4 is -4. So y is equal to -4. So on my y-axis, I'm going to put a point at -4, which would be here. Now I have my 2 points, so I can graph this. Okay, when you graph it, hopefully you hit both the points. Okay, so all I needed was 2 points. All right, so now let's go on to the next example. It says x plus y is equal to 2. So again, I'm going to first find my x-intercept, so I'm going to let y equal 0. Okay, so x plus, instead of y, I'm putting 0. So x plus 0 is just x. So x is equal to 2. So I'm going to put a point at +2 on my x-axis. And then I'm now going to find my y-intercept. And to do that, I'm going to have x equals 0. So I have x plus y equals 2. So now I'm putting 0 in for x. And then I'm solving for y. Well, 0 plus y is just y. So y is equal to 2 as well. So I put a positive on my y-axis. I have a point at +2. And then here is my line. Remember, you just need 2 points to graph a line. Okay? All right, so that's all for this lesson. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you still have any questions, please call, text, or email me, and or stop by my office hours, and I'll be happy to help you. You have a great day.